How focused are your employees? When it comes to any sporting event, you go to a football game, soccer game, basketball game, and other than what's going on the court or the field, what gets all the attention is that scoreboard. And boards, scoreboards, or communication boards and team meetings are probably the strongest weapons there are for driving improvement and really focus with any work environment, be it a restaurant, construction site, manufacturing. We need dynamic tension. We need everyone to understand what the goal is, what they're trying to achieve, and where they're at in relationship to it. Hi, Brian McCordy here with Black Belt Lean Thinking, and I made a video on MCRS, Management Control and Reporting System, where I talk about creating short interval control, which we're going to touch on here in a minute. But what I want to do in this video is kind of show you how to tie it all together so that your employees understand the goal, and it's always before them, so that you're driving behavior, you're controlling that dynamic tension, creating that sense of urgency. And there are some human nature behaviors, I guess that'd be the word for it, that we want to control, not manipulate. Again, we're wired to act a certain way, and we're just going to tap into that. Let's start first with short interval control. Regardless of what type of operation you have, there are things that are really important, that are critical to your operation, that you monitor regularly. In a manufacturing environment, say it could be quality. With a certain component, we need to do quality checks often. Maybe we're looking at, we're manufacturing something that's on a continuum like pipe, where we have to have that dimension just right. You know, we've got a specification, we got to stay within inside it. Or control of production yield, you know, how much output you're getting, you know, be it from machinery or a work cell, but what's the production level like? What's the scrap rate? How much downtime? So you can determine what you want to measure, what the key performance indicators are, but we want to make sure that we're very clear on what's important and we know exactly where we're at. Okay, when it comes to short interval control, that's that first thing they're going to measure. Short interval control, often called SIC, uses charts or a graph, something to where, again, you determine what they're going to measure. As I said, in manufacturing, it may be yield, you know, production, downtime, shrinkage. It could be time, whatever, against these things, you know, staying on target. But they're going to record on a graph or a chart, a SIC chart, just a little piece of paper or whatever, every hour or every 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 hours. You determine the increment, hence short interval control. You decide the intervals, but they're going to record where they're at. And that goes on that paper, usually where the work is done. It might sit on a desk, on a workbench, or be hung on a wall or a communication board. So we'll get into those communication boards next. Okay, what we want to do is we want to design loops that involve more people. So you'd have your short interval control, then you have loop 1, and we'll say loop 2, and we'll have a 3-loop system here. When I talked about human nature, most of us do not like asking for help. It's just how we're wired, especially us guys. We'd rather work on something by ourselves for a long time, getting deeper and deeper in trouble, than ask for help and show that we don't have it under control. With management, control, and reporting system, and the structure I'm going to show you, all that goes away. We never want an employee working in isolation. We never want people to be ignorant of a problem that's going on at the moment, where they could get involved and maybe provide some help and support. So we have that SIC chart. So every hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 hours, whatever, they're filling out the chart, measuring their performance against those key performance indicators. Again, just graphing mapping down where they're at with their yield or quality checks or whatever, and it goes on that document. That first loop would be the next level up of a person with authority, say a lead mechanic coming up, or maybe even just another mechanic in that area that works with them, coming over and say every 2, 3, or 4 hours. Again, you set the interval, but it's a second layer of protection. They're going to come over and they're going to look at that SIG chart and make sure everything's doing all right. They're not asking for help. It is just how the system is set up. So that lead mechanic would come over, look at the SIG chart. If everything's fine, they just smile and walk on. But if there's a problem, then they can ask about it. If they're now aware of it, they're now working together. Now that next level, maybe once a day you have a supervisor or a manager come by, engineering support. Again, someone else with authority level position that's going to come by. And at this point, maybe this information from that lead is placed on a communication board. So now they're not looking at the chart, they're actually looking at a communication board. Communication boards are usually set up with 3 levels or 3 sections: people, performance, project. So maybe the graph or just numbers are put up on that performance section. So now this supervisor or engineer or whoever once a day, twice a day is coming over and looking at that. If there's a problem, again, they can go together with this person and that person. Now you have 3 people involved with it. You get the idea, right? Now you have, say, plant manager, a department head, comes by, say, once a day, and they're looking at it. If they have any questions, again, they can go right up to it. And they can set the intervals. Usually, as this goes out, you have people of higher levels of authority looking at it at longer increments of time. So here's your short interval. Usually those checks are being done within a matter of minutes or hours. This could be actually even, depending on how robust your process is, maybe they're looking at it, every 4 hours, and they're looking at it once a day, and this person's just looking at it every other day or even once a week. Again, you set the intervals, you set the loops. You're using a chart, a SIG chart, then you're using your communication boards. So say someone at a higher level, these last 2, maybe they're just walking by that communication board, giving it a look. If everything's fine, they're moving on. The great thing is this person is never asking for help, and no one's battling a problem in isolation. The help is built into the system. People automatically are looking, and if there's a problem, they can come ask questions and lend assistance. Something you can tie to this also would be an escalation metrics, and that would be a system that goes along with their key performance indicators where, when you hit, say, this amount of downtime or this amount of shrinkage, or when you hit this quality issue, you pull that andon cord. In other words, you alert somebody, you call that lead mechanic. So you can have that still where, again, they don't feel bad because really they're, again, just following the rules or following the system. It says at this level, contact the person. That's what I'm doing. So again, it kind of takes the decision-making burden off of them. They're not making the decision, they're just following along. And it, again, benefits them. We don't want someone dealing with a problem in isolation. We want the Marines and the cavalry coming in, again, to lend assistance. We want that team mindset. Again, everyone working together, focusing on that, whatever issues that are coming out. So hopefully that helps you. Again, do you have short interval control? Do you have communication boards? Those 2 are the greatest weapons there are for really driving improvement and placing control in any type of an organization. And again, you can do it anywhere. It could be in a restaurant, in a hospital. Determine those main problems, set up control measures where you're really checking them often. That's your short interval control. And now put your boards out and have your people, again, your loops structured where they're providing assistance. So I've seen this program used in lots of different facilities, and again, it really creates a proactive information stream to where, again, you don't have people working in isolation. You've got forced communication, and everything is built into that system. Remember, we're always looking for self-monitoring, self-correcting, self-regulating. This is one way to make that happen. Thanks. Brian McCorder, Black Belt Lean Thinking.